Success will follow you when you lead yourself first. Success doesn't chase people who wait, it follows those who lead themselves first. Think about that. Every goal you want, every dream you're chasing, it doesn't begin with luck, talent, or the perfect moment. It begins with you, how you think, how you act, how you show up when no one's watching. The truth is most people want a better life, but very few take the lead in their own life. They wait, they wish, they blame. But here's the mindset shift. You are the driver, not the passenger. This audiobook isn't about hype, it's not about shortcuts or empty motivation. It's a step-by-step journey that shows you how to take real control of your actions, your discipline, your focus, and your progress. If you're tired of feeling stuck or behind, this will help you reset your direction. Because once you lead yourself with clarity and consistency, success doesn't just show up. It starts to follow you every step of the way. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Claim your decisions to shape your direction. When a person decides to take control of their direction, something meaningful starts to happen in their life. A real shift begins inside them. They stop waiting for the world to guide them and begin guiding themselves. They stop handing their future to chance and start taking ownership of every choice that shapes their day. People talk about success as if it arrives without warning or as if it depends on something outside themselves. But a person's success grows from the choices they make, and the choices they refuse to make. It grows from the courage to claim their decisions instead of drifting through life wondering why things don't change. Many individuals want progress, yet they avoid taking ownership of their direction. They hope things will improve someday. They wait for better timing, better circumstances, or better motivation. But progress begins the moment a person decides that they will no longer hand their power to delays or hesitation. Progress begins when they say, I will choose my direction today, not next week, not when life smooths out. Today, because every day carries the weight of a decision. Every day asks, who is in charge of your life? And the answer is always formed by the choices a person makes. People often underestimate the impact of their daily decisions. Simple decisions shape their energy, their relationships, their habits, their hopes, their future. A person can look at their life today and discover a clear pattern formed by decisions from the past. And the direction they want tomorrow depends on the choices they make now. This is not pressure, this is freedom. Once a person understands this, they start to rise above excuses. They stop waiting for clarity and begin creating clarity. They stop waiting for direction and begin giving themselves direction. When a person claims their decisions, they reclaim their control. They take back the steering power of their life. They are no longer driven by someone else's approval or their old habits or their fears. They start choosing actions that match their highest values instead of actions that only match their emotions in the moment. It takes strength to do that. It takes discipline to do that. But it is worth it because direction does not come from emotion. Direction comes from choice. Many people say they want to feel stronger, more focused, or more confident. But a person gains confidence the moment they choose their direction with intention. Confidence grows from saying, this is the decision I am making because it aligns with the life I want. When a person chooses like that, they stop feeling lost. They stop feeling powerless. They stop feeling confused about why things are not changing. Decision is the first form of leadership, and leadership begins with the self. When someone takes ownership of their direction, they begin to feel a new sense of responsibility, not the heavy kind that drains a person, but the empowering kind that wakes them up in the morning with clarity. A direction gives a person energy. A direction gives a person purpose. A direction gives a person a reason to stay consistent, even on days when motivation feels low. Because now they are not following feelings, they are following decisions. Life becomes clearer when a person chooses their path. They no longer feel pulled between distraction and desire. They stop watching others move forward while they stay in the same place. They no longer base their decisions on fear or worry. They begin saying yes to choices that build them and no to choices that weaken them. They choose actions that support their growth, even when those actions require effort. They choose conversations that support their peace, even when those conversations require honesty. They choose habits that lift them higher, even when those habits require discipline. This is self-leadership. This is direction. A person does not need perfect knowledge to choose their direction. They only need honesty. Honest reflection is one of the strongest tools a person can use. When a person sits quietly and asks themselves, "What direction am I choosing today?" they gain more wisdom than any distraction can ever give them, and when they answer that question with strength, they position themselves for real improvement. Honesty removes confusion. Honesty removes denial. Honesty shows a person exactly where they are standing and where they want to go. Once a person knows their direction, they must protect it. Distractions will appear. Familiar habits will try to pull them back. People around them might question their changes, but the person who protects their direction becomes stronger each day. They become the kind of person who doesn't just talk about progress, but lives it. They feel proud of the choices they make. They feel connected to their purpose. They feel grounded in their path. Claiming decisions is not an overnight achievement. It is a daily commitment. A person builds leadership one decision at a time. Every morning gives them another chance to take charge. Every evening gives them another chance to evaluate their progress. Every moment gives them another chance to choose what supports their growth. A person becomes powerful not because life becomes easier, but because they become more intentional with their choices. They stop being reactive and start being proactive. They stop drifting and start directing. They stop giving excuses and start giving effort. A person must understand something important. Direction is not given to them by others. No friend, mentor, or teacher can choose for them. People can offer support, guidance, or encouragement, but the final decision always belongs to the individual. That decision creates accountability. That decision builds character. That decision shapes the future. And the person who learns to choose for themselves gains a level of independence that strengthens every part of their life. Claiming decisions also changes how a person handles mistakes. Instead of hiding from mistakes, they learn from them. Instead of feeling ashamed of a wrong turn, they adjust their path. They know a decision is not final unless they refuse to change it. This mindset gives a person freedom to grow without fear. They stop judging themselves for being imperfect and start working on becoming better. Every improvement begins with one honest decision. Every breakthrough begins with one moment of courage. When a person finally embraces this idea, something inside them becomes steady. They feel a new certainty in their voice. They feel grounded in their purpose. They feel connected to their growth. They stop needing constant reassurance from others. They begin trusting themselves more. Their decisions become clear, strong, and aligned with who they want to become. A person who leads themselves with strong decisions becomes someone others trust and respect. Their consistency inspires people. Their clarity influences people. Their discipline encourages people. Not because they try to impress anyone, but because they live with direction. Their life begins to becomes visible. Meaningful. Their days begin to feel productive. Their progress, and soon they notice something powerful. Success starts to follow them, not by chance, not by luck, but because they chose to lead themselves first. This is the foundation. Claim your decisions, shape your direction, lead your life, and success will follow. Chapter 2. Improve your mornings to strengthen your discipline. A person's morning sets the tone for their entire day. When someone chooses to improve the first hour after waking up, they begin to build a level of discipline that supports every area of their life. Too many people start their morning in a rush. They wake up late, hurry through small tasks, and step into the day already drained. They wonder why they feel behind even before the day begins. But the truth is simple. The morning is the foundation of personal discipline. When you care for the first steps of your day, you strengthen your ability to make strong choices later. There is something powerful about waking up with intention, not forcing yourself into pressure or stress, but building a clear and steady start. When a person chooses to take control of their morning, they gain something more valuable than extra time. They gain direction. They gain structure. They gain stability. A good morning builds a strong mind, and a strong mind supports disciplined actions throughout the day. A person does not need a complicated morning routine. They only need a consistent one. Consistency is what trains discipline. When you do something each morning, even when you do not feel like it, you build the skill of following through. This skill carries into your work, your goals, your health, your relationships, and your self-respect. You begin to trust yourself because you know you will follow through with what matters. A helpful morning practice starts with waking up at a time that gives you space. Not too early that it feels harsh, and not so late that it creates pressure. Just enough time to breathe, think, and begin your day with intention. When you rise with enough time to meet the day on your terms, you feel calm and focused. You feel prepared. You feel in control. Discipline begins with simple control over your morning. Another strong step is taking a few minutes to collect your thoughts. Many people wake up and immediately reach for distractions. They give their attention away before they even take their first breath of fresh morning air. A person who sits quietly for a moment and recognizes how they feel gains clarity. This does not need to be deep reflection. Just a simple moment of awareness. It helps you understand your state of mind, so you can guide yourself, rather than letting your emotions lead the day. Movement is also an important part of a disciplined morning. It does not have to be intense. A short walk, a few stretches, or any simple activity that wakes up your body with care. Movement lifts your energy, clears your mind, and prepares you for responsibilities. When you choose to move your body first thing in the morning, you send a message to yourself that your health matters. Treating your well-being as a priority strengthens discipline, because you begin to value the choices that support your long-term growth. A good morning also includes attention to your environment. Many people live in cluttered spaces that create stress without realizing it. Taking a few minutes to straighten your space, prepare your essentials, or clean a small area gives you a sense of order. Discipline grows when your surroundings support your focus. That an orderly environment helps your mind stay steady, and a steady mind leads to stronger actions. Another powerful morning habit is planning. Not creating an overwhelming list, but choosing a few important tasks that deserve your energy. When you begin your day by deciding what matters most, you build the habit of directing your attention instead of wasting it. You train your mind to focus on what you want to accomplish, rather than what feels urgent or distracting. This gives you control over your time. It helps you stay grounded. It removes the sense of confusion that often leads to a lack of discipline. A person also strengthens discipline by paying attention to how they speak to themselves in the morning. Self-talk shapes motivation. If you start your day speaking to yourself in a defeated or negative way, discipline becomes harder. But when you start your morning with encouragement and honesty, you strengthen your inner foundation. You do not need grand statements. You only need words that support your growth. Something simple like reminding yourself that you are capable of handling today's responsibilities gives your mind stability. Discipline grows when mornings become predictable in a positive way. When your brain knows what to expect, it resists less. Over time, the actions you choose become habits, and habits make improvement easier. The person who builds a strong morning routine does not rely on motivation. They rely on structure. Structure carries them through days when inspiration is low. Structure helps them stay aligned with their goals, even when they feel tired or pressured. Improving your morning is not about achieving perfection. It is about creating progress. There will be days when the morning does not go smoothly. There will be mornings when you wake up late or feel overwhelmed. The goal is not to fear these moments, but to return to your routine as soon as possible. Returning quickly strengthens your discipline because it teaches you not to give up on yourself. It teaches you to stay committed even when things are not perfect. People who develop strong discipline through their mornings often feel a deeper sense of control over their life. They feel more balanced. They feel more productive. They feel more stable emotionally. When you begin your day with clear actions, you reduce the stress that comes from unpredictability. You give yourself space to breathe, think, and act with intention. Morning discipline affects the way you communicate, work, and handle challenges. It strengthens your ability to stay calm in stressful situations. It helps you make better choices without rushing. Improving your morning also teaches patience. It teaches you to slow down your thinking, observe your behavior, and adjust your habits gradually. Discipline is not built in one moment. It is built through repeated small actions. The morning is the best time to practice these small actions because it is the start of a new day. Every morning gives you another chance to lead yourself. Another chance to make choices that support your goals. Another chance to grow. Over time, you will begin to notice how your mornings influence your confidence. When you complete your morning routine, you feel capable, you feel organized, you feel proud. This improves your self-image. And when your self-image improves, discipline becomes easier. You stop fighting yourself. You start supporting yourself. You begin to create a version of yourself that you can rely on. A strong morning routine shapes your entire lifestyle. It strengthens your discipline, which affects your relationships, your career, your health, and your personal growth. When you choose to improve your mornings, you are not just adjusting schedule. You are adjusting your direction. You are shaping the person you become. The morning is the first chance to lead yourself each day. When you use that chance well, success becomes easier to reach because you move through life with structure, strength, and clarity. Discipline is built in these small moments, and those small moments create a powerful life. Chapter 3: Choose honest effort to guide your personal growth. A person who wants to grow must first decide to put in honest effort, not forced effort. Not effort done only when someone is watching. Honest effort. The kind that comes from a sincere desire to change. The kind that comes from taking responsibility for your progress instead of hoping things will turn around on their own. When you choose honest effort, you stop searching for shortcuts and start choosing actions that match the future you want to build. Real growth begins when you stop pretending that small excuses do not matter and start facing your choices with full awareness. Many people talk about growing, but they avoid the work that personal growth requires. They look for the easiest path, hoping to achieve something meaningful without committing themselves to the process. But growth never appears through avoidance. Growth appears through truth. The truth about what you are doing, the truth about what you are not doing, the truth about how you show up each day. Honest effort is not about being perfect. It is about being real with yourself and putting genuine energy into the areas you want to improve. To choose honest effort, you need to understand where you stand. You cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge. It takes courage to notice your patterns without judging yourself. It takes maturity to admit where you've been holding back. But when you do, you give yourself the chance to grow for real. Honest effort comes from the decision to stop hiding from your weaknesses and to start working on them, step by step. It begins when you say, I am ready to put in the effort that matches my goals. Personal growth requires intention. It requires clear direction. It requires commitment. You cannot grow with half effort. You cannot grow while pretending you are giving your best. When you push yourself with sincerity, you begin to see slow but steady improvements. You notice changes in how you think, how you behave, and how you respond to challenges. Honest effort builds inner strength. It builds discipline. It builds a sense of pride that comes from knowing you are actually trying. A person choosing honest effort stops comparing themselves to others. They focus on their own pace. They understand that growth is personal, not competitive. You do not need to measure your progress against someone else's achievements. You only need to measure whether you are showing up better than yesterday. Growth happens when you take ownership of your journey and stop trying to impress people. It happens when you care more about being true to yourself than about meeting outside expectations. Honest effort requires patience. Many people quit too soon because they want fast results. They want change without the requirement of time. But personal growth does not respond to impatience. It responds to consistency. Honest effort teaches you to stay committed, even when progress is quiet, even when results are slow, even when the changes you want are taking their time. When you stay honest with your effort, you learn to appreciate the value of gradual improvement. You learn to trust the process instead of rushing the outcome. One major part of honest effort is showing up on hard days. It is easy to work on yourself when life feels smooth, but it is on the tiring days that your true self shows. Those are the moments where you build strength. At last, honest effort means doing what you said you would do, even when your motivation fades. It means treating your commitments with respect. This simple dedication creates a strong inner foundation that carries you through difficult time. Honest effort also means giving attention to areas you have ignored. Many people focus only on the parts of their life that feel comfortable. They work on what they already do well and avoid the rest. But growth requires balance. You must be willing to address the habits that slow you down, the behaviors that weaken your confidence, the reactions that cause unnecessary stress. When you face these areas with honesty, you give yourself freedom. You no longer live under the weight of avoidance. You begin to build a life that feels lighter because it is based on truth, not denial. When you choose honest effort, you learn more about your strength. You discover what drives you. You identify what inspires you. You develop a deeper understanding of how you function. Personal growth becomes meaningful when it is connected to self-awareness. You cannot grow from a place of confusion. You grow from clarity. Honest effort gives you that clarity because it forces you to face your habits and choices with open eyes. You also begin to develop emotional maturity. Honest effort teaches you to handle negative feelings instead of escaping them. Teaches you to stay calm when things get difficult. It teaches you to respond instead of react. When you invest yourself sincerely in personal growth, you start creating emotional distance from your old patterns. You stop letting frustration control you. You stop letting fear guide your behavior. You begin to act based on your values instead of your impulses. Choosing honest effort also improves your relationships. When you show up with sincerity, people trust you more. They feel safer around you because they can see your authenticity. Honest effort allows you to communicate clearly, listen better, and connect with others on a deeper level. You begin to build relationships that support your growth because you are coming from a place of truth, not pretense. Honest effort teaches you to take small steps with intention. Personal growth does not require huge changes all at once. It requires steady steps taken with awareness. Each time you put in honest effort, you strengthen your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who tries, someone who grows, someone who keeps moving forward. This identity becomes your anchor when life feels overwhelming. A person who chooses honest effort does not depend on motivation. They depend on commitment. They understand that growth comes from repeated actions, not occasional bursts of inspiration. This mindset frees you from waiting for the right moment. It helps you understand that the right moment is the moment you choose to act. Honest effort turns ordinary moments into transformational ones. As your effort becomes honest and consistent, you start noticing a shift. You begin to feel more confident because you can see your own progress. You feel more stable because you know you are not deceiving yourself. You feel more hopeful because you are no longer living in passiveness. Honest effort builds a strong inner foundation that supports your goals, your well-being, and your future. Your personal growth becomes something you earn, not something you hope for. And when you earn it with sincerity, it stays with you. It becomes part of your character. It becomes part of your identity. Honest effort turns you into someone who leads yourself with intention and strength. This is the path to real growth. Choosing effort that comes from honesty, taking responsibility for your development, and showing up with sincerity each day. Growth becomes possible when you choose to give what is real, not what is convenient. Honest effort guides your journey and shapes the person you become. Chapter 4. Build steady habits to support your inner stability. A person who wants inner stability must begin with steady habits that hold their life together during both calm days and difficult ones. Stability isn't something that suddenly appears when life becomes easier. It is built through daily actions that strengthen your mind, your emotions, and your sense of control. When you build steady habits, you create a structure that protects your peace and keeps you grounded even when everything around you feels unpredictable. Many people want stability, yet they rely on motivation or mood to guide them. But stability comes from consistency, not emotion. It comes from simple actions repeated every day that remind you who you are and what you stand for. Steady habits form the base of a strong mindset. They help you stay connected to yourself instead of getting lost in distractions or stress. When your habits are steady, your days feel smoother. You feel calmer, you make better decisions because you are not reacting to random impulses. You move with clarity because your actions support your values. You stop living in chaos and begin living with purpose. This is why steady habits matter. They give you a foundation that no temporary circumstance can shake. To build steady habits, you must start with honesty. You need to identify the behaviors that currently weaken your stability. Maybe you stay up too late. Maybe you waste the first hour of the day. Maybe you ignore small responsibilities until they become overwhelming. Maybe you avoid tasks that support your mental or emotional health. These patterns may feel harmless in the moment, but over time they create stress and disorder. When you recognize these habits, you gain the power to change them. You do not need to judge yourself. You only need to acknowledge what is happening and choose new actions that support your growth. Steady habits do not need to be complicated. In fact, simple habits are often the most powerful because they are easier to repeat. Something as small as drinking water in the morning, planning your day, cleaning your space, or taking time to breathe can shape your emotional balance. These small actions send a clear message to your mind. You are in control. You are taking responsibility for your